Hi, folks. Sean Van Oslo with Restaurant Customer Factory. And I've got a 7 step system for you here. If you stick around till the end, we'll have a list of baby steps you can take to get you closer to having a thriving restaurant asset. So, gotta say, I admire you weathering this storm with all the investments you gotta make to keep the doors open. So, here's the system. Step the repeat calendar, the repeat customer calendar system. Step one, you tag customers as they pass through the register for re-engagement. So this could be as simple as having a piece of paper where they write their email and phone number down, or they accept push notifications, which you can look up through Digital Marketer. It, in essence, in some way, they give you permission to remind them about what's available in your restaurant regularly. So there are at least bi-weekly notifications incentivizing them to come back into the restaurant. Now there are, you could get an app built where they put in their email and phone number. Essentially, this is as classic as the fishbowl at the desk, where they put in their business card for a raffle, and then give you permission to follow up with them. So, something as simple as MailChimp, which is a free service, can promote out your calendar of events. So your wine tastings, your trivia nights, getting a little ahead of myself here. But you're incrementally building a list of customers you can re-engage with your profitable calls to action. All right. Now, step two is to be found easily on the search engines. Now, this could be about a week process. So, what you want to do when you go through Google My Business registration is get your phone number, email address, no, not email address, your phone number, website, and physical address verified through Google My Business so you can be found easily. What they'll do is they'll send you a postcard in the mail within about 2 days with a PIN number that you'll call the number and type in your PIN number, verifying you own the business and that it's your listing within Google. And you want to go through Google Maps so that you can be found easily this way. Google My Business will work into Google Maps, but you can put your website within Google Maps and also any calls to action. So on the back end, after they click on your link through Google Maps, which is an easy way they'll find you, they can see your menu, get joined to your newsletter, buy your gift cards, go through Eventbrite to get tickets for any of your events, get recipes. Another way to be found higher up in your search engine position is to get citations. And basically what they do is have reputable sources around town mention you online, which increases your number of citations, which makes it easier to be found. SEO takes a long time. You might be better off doing incremental advertising. But we'll get to that in step 7. So, step 3 is to run your numbers so you don't hurt yourself. There are a series of exercises we want you to take so you can hold your own in marketing conversations. Primarily, the number one thing we want you to know is to have a sense of your acceptable cost per acquisition for a customer. So each customer, what is a number that won't do damage to your bottom line, in the sense of, if I put in this, I can expect to get Y. What this will take is going through your records and finding out what the average check size is. So if the average check size is $15, could you live with going into AdWords and saying, the most I want to pay for a customer is $3. And on the back end, I want them to get to this link where they'll take this action, whether it be the newsletter, booking a reservation, going to OpenTable. There's a list afterwards, but what we're getting at right now is understanding your acceptable cost per acquisition so you can recycle the campaign and scale from there. So if if you've got your Google Analytics set up where you're able to track how much a campaign is bringing in, and you'll say, go to Google and say, my daily ad budget is $5. I know that the average check size is $15. So I can live with this in the sense of per customer, I'm only willing to do $3. You get them signed up to your newsletter. So for $3, you're getting someone that joins your newsletter, that for a free service down the road, you can remind them of all the opportunities for transactions within your restaurant. You can play it and pause it based on performance. So this is a platform where upon review, in one of your review days, if you don't like what you're seeing, you can pause it and make some adjustments. So you're not getting heavily invested before you're seeing people being incrementally added to your list of customers you can re-engage. Now it's a slow build. It's over time, but it's not a big outlay of cash to get it built, to get it incrementally rolling. So you're familiar with profit and loss statements. You're familiar with the fact that there's payroll to address and these other items to address. But you can get involved in acquiring customers for a investment you set, and you can gauge through your performance review days. So the next step is to line item your profitable calls to action. So having a written list of the activities which bring in revenue, such as your trivia nights, wine tastings, live music, your networking groups that come in, your gift cards which can be purchased at the desk, through GiftFly, through your Facebook page, sent out through your email newsletter, all of your holiday promotions that have been written out. We want a written list of the calls to action we want people's attention on so that we can direct them towards a point of transaction, which benefits them because they get the goods and you, so that we have a written list we can focus through. Then we're going to activate your pipelines for customer re-engagement. So this is your newsletter, any signage you have around, your Google ads, the listings you have through Google My Business and your maps, and then all these networking groups that come through. So essentially what we have are these pipelines for customer re-engagement. Your Facebook page, your Google listing, your networking groups, your newsletter through email and text message, your signage you have around town. If you do have signs, wonderful. Everywhere you have a pipeline for customer re-engagement, we're going to fill it with the calls to action you made a list of. Then what we're going to do is take a look at your calendar, and we're going to fill in the white space in your calendar with profitable calls to action you listed out. So we're recycling these mechanisms of saying trivia night every Tuesday. How many people come in on trivia night? What's the average check size of trivia night? What did we outlay to get people in the door? Did they come in from our email newsletter? Did they come in from our Google listing? Did groups bring them in? So when we get to the baby steps, you're going to find out there are all these groups that we can get to commit to regular attendance. So I want to fill in the white space of the calendar with our profitable calls to action. Then once we have a list and we have you feel comfortable, you're not in the red, and things are going smooth, we have people coming through the restaurant, we can set aside an acceptable budget for customer acquisition. Now this is what we're trying to do is one-to-one advertising, so that we can maintain we can maintain a per customer investment where you've decided on an acceptable cost per acquisition per customer. And what we'll feel like doing is enlisting a Google partner who's certified in all the advertisements. To get the badge, they've got to have at least 10K in ads in the last 90 days. They monitor them on client client retention, how much they've grown their advertisers. There's 4 things that they test these Google partners on customer acquisition, client, the number of clients they've gotten, how they've retained them, client revenue growth, and how they've collected more advertisers. So, if you're going to get involved in Google advertising, recommend getting a Google partner or a Google Premier partner. Now, in the Olympia area, you can find Ascent Internet Marketing. They are a Google partner and someone I definitely want to follow up with, because they can help us with maintaining our per customer investment. So we can review the average check size. Is the average check size being maintained, and what are we putting out per customer? So once you have a budget set aside that won't be harmful, you can then go out and get more people engaged in your newsletter. So as an example, let's say there are billboards being put up around town. I don't know what the billboards cost. I'm gonna guess about $800. Now, when the billboard's done, will you still have the ability to re-engage the customer? When the radio advertisement's over, will you still have the ability to remind them about your restaurant? If they're added to your email newsletter, or you have their information to put them on a remarketing list, can you then re-engage them for less than this big outlay of cash to get the sign put out or the prestigious radio ad sent out? Which I'm not knocking. You can reach a lot of people with these. These large platforms have value, and they can get people in the door. But what we're trying to get at is, can you re-engage the customer? That's why we'd like to set aside an acceptable budget to put into to give to certified advertisers that can hand you a report. So the end goal is having a report you can review, you can get emailed to you regularly. So it's a living campaign you can check daily. You can start and stop the campaign whenever you feel like, based on the output you're seeing. The 7th step is simply this. Set aside an acceptable budget for one-on-one advertising to build your list you can re-engage without having to pay to reacquire the customer. On to the baby steps. Alright, so here are some extra steps you can take to increase your traffic. Alright, we've gone through Google My Business registration. Your website, address, and phone number are the 3 things to verify. Google Maps setup with the ability to subscribe to your newsletter. Subscribe for a video where we'll walk you through the tracking code or snippets. Actually, Google's got a training on how you can install the tracking code and the snippets into your site. And in fact, I'd like you to look at Google Tag Manager. So if you're using Google Chrome plugin, there's a tag manager which you can review all the tags you put on your site. It's like a 5-minute video. If you can take 5 minutes to understand Google Tag Manager, I think it'll serve you well. Then we'll go through your calculation exercises where you find out your cost per acquisition, the lifetime value of the customer, your cycle of expenses and returns. If you are using AdWords, one protection mechanism I'd like you to take is they'll let you enter your daily ad budget. Currently times it by 30.4 for your monthly budget. The monthly budget is what they'll honor. The daily ad budget is what you enter. Now, as of today, they're withdrawing it every $500 or 30 days. Whichever comes first is when they'll bill you for the advertising. You can also use scripts to automate it. There's a few services that I wouldn't be the person to use scripts with, but there's some more advanced people who can help you set up automations with your advertising based on what you want to put out, who you want to target. There are some advanced mechanisms that other people can help you with. So the next thing we'd like to do is write out your event calendar and review with your team. So, do you have trivia, live music? What are your daily specials? Wine tasting? Do you have paint and sips? Story jams, poetry slams? And then who is hearing about your events? Okay. So I've wrote here, build out your holiday promotion calendar. President's Day, February 20th. Write out every holiday and have a few days in advance what you're going to do to bring people in and what's the special, what's the incentive for them to come in for this holiday. Is there a gift card you're emailing to them? What communication are you putting out to re-engage them for the holiday? And are you setting it up at least a week in advance? So there's emails, text messages, written on your Facebook page, having signage saying what the special is for the holiday. And is it throughout the whole year? Do you have an annual calendar with your holiday campaigns detailed out? Okay. We talked about enlisting a Google partner or Premier partner. If you're going to get involved in AdWords, recommend you getting some certified counseling. I'm not it yet, but there are people that can help you greatly. The next step would be to get groups to commit to regular attendance. So these meetup groups have their calendars planned out. You can get groups like all these business networking groups. Talk to the leader, you can incentivize them to have their meetings in your restaurant. It's as simple as this. All right. So on your Facebook page, you can have your event calendar listed with the availability of a gift card purchase. So I want you to know about Giftfly. It's GIFTFLY. Within this, you can create a gift card that you can post for sale on your Facebook page, your email newsletter, and your SMS newsletter. Now with Giftfly, you can decide who processes the transaction fee, either the merchant or the customer. And it's about 0.03%. I'm not sure of the exact percentage they take, but it's negligent as far as getting it processed. They can bring it in on their phone, their tablet, computer, whatever. It's an electronic gift card that they could share. If you'd like to have trivia teams roll through, a lot of the bars and grills find that they bring regular attendance. You can invite student associations, increase your citations for the search engine position. That goes back to what we said earlier in the video. If you have reputable sources mention you online, The more citations you have online, the more likely you are to have a higher search engine position. Then, ensure the average check size is enough to compensate for the operating expenses. It may require a bump up in prices. Just across the street, there are people running lunch specials for $5.75 or $7.95, which is great, but I'm worried that it doesn't compensate for the operating expenses. So, so you may be familiar with menu planning and how you want to plan the menu for profit. Well, we just want to ensure the average check size compensates for the operating expenses. And maybe that's why we're repeating ourselves. All right. Then want to have interval performance review days. So at least once a week, have a performance review day where the agreed upon key performance indicators are looked over. It can take 5 minutes to say how many additions to the newsletter did we get. Is the average check size remaining what we want? Do we have people on our loyalty program? Do we have groups coming in regularly? Do we have people doing the things we just line itemed? Another thing would be you can gather testimonials from customers. It's not wrong to ask for testimonials so that you can put it on your online assets. So that you can say, well, I mean, if somebody mentions something, would you be willing to fill out a comment card or take a survey? And then the surveys can be put out as something for social proof that other people appreciate the restaurant. All right. What I wrote here is make the acceptable cost per acquisition promise, meaning you won't advertise unless it's got an agreed upon per customer investment and there's a validated rate of return, which you've seen over time. Then have a dialogue about lifetime customer value review involved. So there's tracking on what the lifetime customer value is. Then consider club fees. So restaurants have mug clubs and memberships. It could be a subscription revenue for some perks within your restaurant. Host business events, Kiwanis clubs, Rotary, B&I groups, meetup groups. Host their events so that you have packs of people coming in. They get familiar with your restaurant, and once they're in once and they like it, they may come back. Another thing you can do is communicate your delivery options regularly with signage, within your newsletter, within your Facebook group. Communicate the ways that they can get your food through Puget Sound To Go app, your delivery drivers, takeout opportunities. You can offer to professional drivers, so truckers and Uber, Lyft drivers can communicate with their dispatch and say, hey, you're on the road. You can drop by and we've got you covered. Another thing is to have. I wrote place tracking codes in any print advertising, but on all your marketing, have tracking. You can have your restaurant team vocalize your event calendar and transaction opportunities. So we see restaurants having signs and chalkboards with their weekly event list written, which is great. It's great to have it visible what's available regularly within your calendar. But have the team speak up about it and remind them, oh, you can get a gift card here. You can do this or that. Another thing locally, OpenTable, okay? In Tacoma and Seattle, if doing some research on the Cheesecake Factory, OpenTable is a way for them to book a reservation in advance and put in their credit card. You know that there's booked people coming in. So they can find you easily. Let's say they're stuck at work and they've got a busy day and they just want to save a table. They can do it through the app. They can save a table for a certain time and put in their credit card information, come to dinner, have their meal, and you've already got a way to charge them. You can put a sign about, hey, save your table through OpenTable. And I'm admittedly unclear about what OpenTable asks for to get you involved, but the large metropolitan areas are using it well. And then people can do it for Valentine's Day or whatever holiday they want. They can save their table well in advance. And then you can get a sense of its effectiveness. So, subscribe for more strategy sessions. Get your 31 days of restaurant marketing down below. You can schedule a time to chat through Schedulicity. And or just post a comment below or question below. If there's something that you're trying to accomplish, let me know about it. Thanks and have a great day.